Hey Jared, how's it going today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, thanks. Just letting a few people in here. Everything going well up in the Northwest?
Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody in Bellamy. Is it Bellamy, Washington or
Bellevue, maybe, or Bellingham.
Bellingham? Yeah, they said it was hot. They said it was 80 degrees. I'm thinking that ain't hot.
It'll be in the 90s today. It was in the 90s yesterday and the day before.
Oh, get out,
It,
really? Wow.
yeah, so
Well, it's
little
80,
little
it's
used to it.
85 here. It's not too bad.
Okay.
So we'll take it. But just letting everybody in, I have an agenda today. We'll run through it pretty quick, and then I have, and as we go through the agenda today, this will definitely be a Q&A type of session, more of a mastermind today. But actually there's a lot of action steps on today's agenda, so I wanted to definitely go into those action steps to make sure that we're hitting our marks. So this is actually week three, crafting your value proposition. Week one, just to review, week one was building your foundation, and that's basically getting your list together. Figuring out who you're going to reach out to, having three different types of agents you're going to reach out to. Your A list, which are the people that are closest to you that know you well. Your B list, which are people that maybe through somebody else. Maybe you've worked with them, but not a lot. And then your C list are just other people that that know of you, that you may know of them. There might not be a formal introduction, so they're the least of the three groups that you have a strong relationship with. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't reach out to them. It just means that you should probably work on the A's and B's first. Different type of approach with A's and B's. A's, you're going after them as hey, I've worked with you in the past. It's more of a personal relationship. The B's are, John introduced me. John told me to give you a call. He said a lot of great things about you. Just wanted to get some information and see if you have time to have a quick call with me. And then you set them up on your calendar. So that was week one. Week two is the 1% approach to productivity, meaning as productive agents out there in the field, you definitely want to be focused on what you do best, which is listing and selling homes. You don't want to take your eye off the target, at least during haymaking season, during the times of the year where you're the busiest. You want to keep your focus where it needs to be. I've tried in the past running multiple different endeavors, and I've always found that whenever I take my eye off the mark, I can do a lot of things decently, but it really takes somebody to focus on something really well to get it done really well. There's a saying, you can be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So as a real estate agents, you want to be the master of the real estate field. The attraction should be a byproduct of what you're doing. And I take it, everybody on this call is looking to attract an agent or two into their organization here over the next year or so. So we can also break this down into cycles of action, or what is the parts of a cycle of action, which a cycle of action is start, change, stop. So you start an activity, you change and you move it, and then you stop the activity. And we can also talk about it in terms of beingness, doing this, and having this. And I've seen B do have it, all my life, in all kinds of different books, from Zig Ziglar to um, just different, all kinds of different people out there talking about being able. You have to first have a beingness. So the beingness is basically weeks one and two. Create your list, set your plan. Now we're moving into the doing this phase, or the action or activity phase of things, where if you don't do steps one or weeks one and two, which we'll call them steps one and two, it's very difficult to do steps three and four, which is your doing this activities, which is crafting your value proposition, knowing what your value proposition is, and it's different for everybody. And this is where we're going to workshop a little bit, is like, what is your value propositions? And then how do you make those initial calls? And do you call initially? Do you text initially? Do you email? What does it look like? And there's a couple different approaches you can take to that. And then the last phase of being this, doing this, is having this. So you can't have a thriving business without first postulating it or thinking it into existence and then doing all the action steps to have that thriving business. But once you've done those first two steps, then you have that thriving business. But sometimes having something is the toughest part of all, because now you're maintaining it, and now you're feeding it, and now you're enhancing it and making those little changes, those little things that you do differently as an organization that get you from good to great. There's actually a book written about, good to great, and all the little things that you do along the way, just the little touches that you put on things that create that specialness. I was reading some things on Facebook today about agents working in the field, and they're getting their clients are saying, "Oh, you communicated so well, you did such a great job," blah blah blah. Well, we all do that. I was a new agent 8 years ago, and I could even do that without it, even having much training. So I think as an agent, we all strive to be a great communicator and a great task handler. But what are those little things that you do that the client wasn't expecting that you do, in addition to all the basic things that you should do anyhow? So that's the havingness aspect of everything. But we're talking about doing this today. We're talking about action steps. So first is, what is your value proposition? So let me just ask you guys, and there's only three of us on the call today, in addition to or three others in addition to me. Jared, what do you feel like your value proposition is? What can you offer in your organization, the agents in your organization, something of value to attract them to you?
Well, if we're talking about from the agent attraction with this topic here, I'm a pretty good mentor. I've been around for a while. I've seen a lot. So I think that from that standpoint, if I'm mentoring an agent into the organization, I'd be a good person to have on their side, because I'm pretty much available all the time. And I guess that would be a good start. The other part is that I've been very productive, so there's going to be opportunities there as well for me to delegate tasks on to other agents and help them, get opportunities they otherwise wouldn't have.
Okay, that's a good start, actually. And I'd write that down. I'd write that into as your value proposition, because when you start reaching out to agents, that's the first thing you want to do, is you want to bring up what you can offer to them. What we offer at American Destiny is our network, our referral network, our clients. So that's our value proposition. Angela, what are your value propositions? What are the things that you're good at?
Well, I'm super good at contracts. So anybody in the states that I work in, if they need help formulating their contracts, or, making them nice and tight so they don't have a lot of wiggle room to get out of them, I'm pretty good with that. I also am like Jared. I answer my phone. I'm available. I'm willing to help out and support. And I've been in this business a long time, and when I'm doing a lot of business, I'm actually right now, I'm talking to an agent, and I kind of like to do a three-way Zoom with you, Eric, with him. He wants to come on board, as a team member with me to, help be my boots on the ground when I am not in Washington State.
Right.
And so I think I could offer value with that, because he doesn't do contracts. He hates writing contracts. So I can offer that for him. He doesn't have to do any paperwork. He could just do my property inspections, put up the signs, do my open houses, hang a lockbox, and I'll do all the tasking and all the paperwork. I think that would be a good for his fit. But all for anyone though, I mean, that's just the kind of person I am. I've always got an open ear and an open heart, and willing to share and help others.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that's important. I think that those are things that you have to, when you think of a value proposition, number one, you have to think about, what is it that you do that's makes you different, that's unique for you? Sometimes they call it a unique selling proposition, or a USP. But the second thing you have to really realize is, what do the agents want? I mean, your value could be, you design really swell, red t-shirts, but agents don't care about that. But if you have something that they're looking for and something you can offer to them, that's where a good fit comes into play. And I think this is really true amongst all brokerages nationwide. It's just, it doesn't have really EXP, it just happens to be a good vehicle. It allows for an easy transfer of revenue share. You don't have to have referral agreements in place. I mean, we can, and that could be a whole nother layer of what you do for as far as a profit center. You can have teams, you can have referral agreements, but just having people in your organization creates a layer of passive income of up to almost $3,000 a year per agent. So if you have 10 agents in your organization, that's 30 grand a year. It's not bad. For all you have to do is really just be talking to people about what we do and about our group. And there's another person on the call. I don't know who you are though. If you want to introduce yourself, and then you can let me know what your value proposition is. I'm not sure who lmfrealtor@gmail is.
I'm so sorry, Eric. It's Latanya.
Oh, hey, okay. Now I know, Latanya. Now I
Oh
see
my
you every so
God.
often.
I have to change that. I'm so sorry. I was
That's
in the middle
okay.
of trying
That's
to
okay.
get
No, I didn't. I actually looked up your email and I didn't see it in my database. So, but now I know. So how's it
Okay.
going?
It's going great. Actually, my husband wants to get his license and join my team.
There you go.
So I'm really excited about that. He's been going out with me on all of my referred about business, and he's my muscle, so to speak. That's what he calls himself.
Okay.
So we've been having a lot of fun and spending a lot of time together. He works from home a lot, but he also travels. So he's traveling this week. But I was telling him about you, and I was telling him about Larry, and he was like, he would love to have a conversation with you guys. He's excited. He's in cybersecurity, but he's always loved real estate.
Yeah, it's an easy runway, as we all know. My brother, he's just turned 55. He just got his license 2 weeks ago. I don't even know if he's going to ever sell a house. I think he just wanted to do it just to do it. He spent 30 some years teaching. He's still a teacher. But yeah, it's a matter of taking some classes and taking a test that everybody gets all wigged out about, but it's not that bad. But sure, let's bring them on. Now, Latonya, what are your unique selling propositions? What are your value propositions that you can offer others?
Okay, well, I have my PSA, which is a pricing advisor strategist. Well, I think that's what they call it, but I got this certification. So I'm really good at pricing property out well. Like all of my listings, normally my listings sell at listing price when I price them out. So that's one thing that I do. I'm also a broker. I've just been in the business for a long time. I pay attention to marketing a lot. Advertisement, I have to do more videos, but I think that I do a good job with literally just kind of being there for other agents, giving them tips on especially some social media stuff, what to post, what not to post. I could probably use a little help on that myself, but
I think I've seen some of your posts recently.
So yeah, for the most part, just kind of really being there and talking them through contracts and transactions. I've had some new agents that I was kind of doing this before I ever joined EXP. People that were new that just came to me about, I have this client, I don't know what to do, really walking them through the process of their first deal. So I've done that for some people to, showing them the forms that we have to use and, the deadlines and how important that is. You don't want to lose anybody's money, and you want to know how to word the contracts and everything like that. So I think that's what I have to offer.
Good. Well, that's exactly that's what we do. So we just wanted to figure out what we do best. So I put as step number 2 is to create basically your elevator pitch. And it's basically if you're stuck on an elevator with somebody for 2 minutes and you wanted to tell them what you do, how can you tell them what you do in 2 minutes or less, maybe even like a minute? So I think this is important to have at your disposal, because you don't want to have something that's going to take 5 minutes. You just want it to be succinct, quick. You meet somebody, this is what I do. Would you like to hear more? And this will kind of dovetail into your discovery call. When you start making a discovery call, you're going to basically call the person, hey, Jim, this is Eric. I haven't talked to you in months. How's it going? How's the family? You do a little bit of reconnaissance, just basically breaking the ice, not making it a business type of thing. And then you just want to get into, hey, I didn't know if you knew or not, but I joined EXP a ways back, and more importantly, I joined the Cottrell Bengal group. We do a lot of REO work. I know you do a lot of REO work. Just wanted to find out, would you have time in the next couple of weeks to have a quick call with me so I can tell you about the REO network? I don't think you're part of it right now. I could give you a little bit of information, and we can see if it would be a good fit for you. And then just don't say anything. Just let it go until they respond. And that would be me if I was making a call to people that I know who are in REO. And you can do the same thing with an email. You can send them an email, but then I would follow up with a phone call. So you can send them an email, say the same thing. We'd like to, see if you could, if we're like, wouldn't mind setting up a time. And then maybe 2 or 3 days later, you call them. Hey, Jim, just want to find out if you had a chance to read the email I sent you. I'm part of a group. We're doing a lot of REO, a lot of referrals going back and forth. I'd really like to find out if you had a couple of minutes where we could have a chat, take about 15, 20 minutes of your time. I didn't want to do it right now because I know you might be in the middle of something, but is there a time in the next week or so that we could have a call? And if you've set your schedule up where if they were free, they wanted to have a call at that time, you could do that. For me, I would just basically be putting time on their calendar. Just pull up your calendar, whether you do an online version, which I do, or just look at your calendar and say, hey, I have time. Wednesday, would morning or afternoon work better for you, and just see what works. So that's where you're knowing your unique selling proposition, knowing your having that value proposition known, and having that elevator pitch available. And I'm not going to put anybody in the spot today and say, hey, what's your elevator pitch? But start thinking about it. Thinking about what is the first 10 words out of your mouth going to be after you break the ice with the person you're calling. What are you going to say to them? Because that's going to define whether you're going to get the appointment or not. And really, the important thing is that you get the appointment. Now, you could theoretically, I think you could also bypass the call with you to talk about the network and just get the call going with me, meaning you could call the person up and say, hey, Jim, this is Eric, break the ice. I just wanted to find out, I've been working with American Destiny Real Estate for a few months now. They're a really great network. I don't know, would you want to, they're looking for agents. They have a need for agents. They have agents nationwide that they're looking to fill some slots. Would you like to have a conversation with them? If they say, sure, just pull up my calendar, put time on my calendar, and then I can take it from there. It might be a good idea then to maybe, if you haven't done it during the calendar invite, to at another time, just send me a little bit of a note about the person. I know them from NADP, I know them from the Force, or I knew them from US REO Partners, or whatever the case might be, or they're my cousin or something like that, or we've been working together really well, just so I know exactly where the conversation would go. And what I always tell agents to do also is I'll throw my calendar in the chat here. And one thing I recommend you don't do is don't just hand out my calendar, say, hey, put time on Eric's calendar. Just do it for them. 2 reasons. One, it makes it appear that there's some scarcity, which on my calendar, there is some scarcity. I do that purposefully. I don't allow somebody to have like 15 different spots a day. They might get 4, maybe 5 max in the course of a day, because I have other things that I'm doing, but I try to structure my time that way. But the other thing is, that they schedule the appointments. So if you know that that way, you can also put yourself in as a guest. So let me just go ahead and throw my calendar in the chat here. But any questions about unique selling proposition or your elevator? Is it pitch? Pitch is the right word, elevator talk that you're going to have with somebody. And so week 3 is really all about getting started doing things. Weeks 1 and 2 is the prep time. Get your list, get your schedule. Your schedule could be as little as 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week. It could be 2 hours one day a week. It is whatever it is, but just try to stick to that schedule the best you possibly can. Now that you have your list of people you're going to call, and if you want to start small and start with 10 people, that's fine. If you have 100 people, that's better. But if you don't call any of them, it doesn't really matter. Or if you don't reach out to any of them, it doesn't really matter. So in the reaching out part can look, different for everybody. It could be calls, it could be texts, it could be emails, it could be a combination of all three. The important thing that happens is that an appointment gets made at the end of the day. And I think, if you know the people pretty well, if you're dealing with your A's and B's, I think your success rate should probably be, especially if they're in REO and they want to do more REO, I think your success rate should be in the 70 to 80% range for that call. And then what happens after, you make the introduction to myself is I have a conversation with them and I explain about the network, explain about what we do. If they're qualified, we put them in the network. If they're not quite qualified, we might put them in as a contingent prospect. But if we knew that you were going to mentor them, then we can elevate them up to being able to accept assignments, provided we knew that somebody was mentoring them. After my call with them, the next step is I get a call going with Larry, who introduces the REO Alliance, introduces MCM Capital, Temple View Capital. And basically what Larry's really good at is follow-up. So I rely on his follow-up, although I do some of my own. His follow-up is really where it's been most helpful for me. And once they're in our system, they're in our system under yourself as the person making that introduction. Now, don't make the introduction and never reach out to them ever again. You want to still be following up with them at least on a quarterly basis. Hey, how's it going? Have you got anything from American Destiny? Hey, we're having this event, or I'm doing this online seminar. I know somebody was talking to me last week about doing online type things where they're going to have like some classes and courses for people to go online. If you do that on a fairly regular basis, you can invite people to come to that. That's why we do the American Destiny Mastermind calls. It's not only to introduce some of the REO gurus, leaders of the industry to our agents each month. It's also to stay connected with our agents each month. So when we're on those calls, I'm usually seeing who's on it. Well, when I'm doing the calls, it's hard because I'm usually facilitating, but when I'm on like Larry's wealth building mastermind, I'll see who's on that call and then know who's engaging. And maybe I'll make a follow-up call with them in a day or so, and just to see if they thought the information was valuable. So the events that you do are just an excuse to call them to have something to talk about, really. If you call them, once a quarter for the next 2 years, and every time you call them, just say, hey, how's it going? Haven't talked to you for 3 months. It might be a little strange. But if you had some reason to call them, maybe, I want to invite you to this mastermind, or I saw this really cool article. I just wanted to send it to you, and I'm going to send it to you now and take a look at it, or, go have lunch with them or coffee or a drink after work if they're local. So that's week 3 in a nutshell. It's the action steps. It's the doing this phase of all this. Remember, it's be, do, have. In order to have anything, we got to be and we have to do. So do is probably I wouldn't say it's the most important part, but action steps do tend to be fairly important. If we're not doing action steps, we can think about this grand plan and have this grand plan laid out in our minds. But if we never initiate or do that first step, then those grand plans usually don't always happen. So I'll leave the last 6 minutes open to you guys. Any questions you have, anything else you want to talk about, any scripts you want to review, or it's open to you guys.
I have a quick question. When I was first signing with EXP, I don't know if it was you or Larry sent me an email with videos about the EXP model and how the commission structure and all of that.
Yeah,
I don't know where to
that.
find those. I'd like to show those to
Okay.
some people.
Yeah.
So if I could get those sent to me again, that'd be great. I looked in my email and I just couldn't find them.
Yeah, I have those. I'll send them to you right after the call.
That'd be super. Thank you
Yeah,
so
and
much.
we also have some other resources that I'll send you. Our YouTube channel is a good resource. Larry's masterminds are good, but there's a 9-minute video that agents can watch. And we usually recommend if you're going to have an agent watch a 9-minute video that you watch it with them. That way you know it happened. Now, if you use CRM Grow, CRM Grow has a feature where if you embed a video into the CRM Grow and somebody opens it, we'll know how, if they watched the video, how much of it they watched. But CRM Grow is about a $40 a month investment. It's another type of CRM, kind of like KV Core. So unless you're doing a lot of outreach, I don't necessarily recommend it, but certainly watch it with them. And then probably the best person that has information out there right now is still, I can't think of his name right now. Hold on, let me pull this up. Brent Cove is probably still the best person that's has the best videos out there. Mike Sherrard's also actually really good also, and Sean Kozowska, and I'll send all those to all three of you guys. You don't have to remember or write this down or remember it, but we'll yeah, I'll send you the videos. I'll send them to you, Jared, also, and Latanya, so you guys have it. But the videos are good to have. It's just better to get it's just really good to get in conversation with them. And then usually agents, and sometimes they just use this as a way to get you off the phone. Oh, send me some information, I'll review it. And then they never do. So I'm happy to send anybody information, but I'd really rather just have that call with them and answer their questions directly. And usually I'd say agents, when they get to the question phase, they only usually have like 3 questions. What are the monthly fees? What's the commission structure? Maybe a couple others that are one-offs, but they don't usually have questions that are hard to field. They're pretty simple questions. All you guys are engaged in the group, so you know the value of the group. You know how much we do. You know how many trainings we have every week. These are the this is part of your value proposition, by the way. You can bring somebody to Larry's Friday call. You don't have to tell us, just bring them on. The calls are not set up to jam EXP down somebody's throat. It's to create wealth building opportunities. Everything Larry does is along the lines of this can help not only an EXP agent, but any agent. He's going to have Wendy Forsyth on Friday's call, who's the chief marketing officer of all of EXP nation across the whole world. She has a pretty important job and is probably like number 3 in line of the CEO. This could be a great call. I mean, she's been doing marketing her whole life and has basically been tasked at the highest level with the highest grossing, highest producing brokerage in the world. So she's a big deal. So this would be a good opportunity to bring somebody on board Friday to hear somebody who is marketing for a $4 or $5 billion a year company. I think it's no, maybe it's higher than that. Maybe we're several hundred billion. I don't even know. But I know last year alone we gave back in revenue share $250 million in revenue share. That's the only stat I know. Anyhow, anything else from you guys today? I have a call to jump on.
My thought was when I engage with agents, I was probably not even going to bring up EXP right away. I think I was just going to present it from having the opportunities with the group, and then look what it's done for me, tell my story a little bit. I can show it to them on paper, so they can't refute it. I know that it works. I know the value's there. And then I kind of was just going to leave it open and see if they were open to an opportunity, because that's what it took to drag me here. I didn't know a single thing about EXP when I joined, nothing. So to me, the value was in the opportunity, and I figured that that's probably how I'm going to sell it back. And then I'll let somebody that knows more about EXP explain EXP.
I would absolutely take that approach. And if they're REO, they do REO work. It's just a matter of getting them in conversation with Larry, and he'll take it from there. Or myself, just get a conversation, put them on our calendar, and then we'll take them through the ranks. We present, there's only really ever been one person I you know, I called and they were like, hey, I've been talking about EXP with somebody else and I'm ready to sign up. One person I've talked to over 700 people in the last year. So it's definitely a one-off. So get them interested about the group. Once they know more about the group, then we can talk about how they can participate with the group. And we say this all the time. Larry had the vision of the group well before he had EXP. He could see this. It just it happens to be EXP was the best model for it. But it could have been Remax, KW, Century 21, our own brokerage. Carrington did it. We were looking along, doing it along those lines. But EXP had everything we needed. It was the easiest runway. So hey, I gotta run, guys. I have a 1 o'clock call with executive at EXP. I taped this, so I'll throw the recording up on the YouTube, and I'll send you guys that stuff via email. So have a good rest of the day.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.